Hi, Jen.
All right, so we wanted to come on here and fight about transaction coordination, right?
Yes. And I mean, we can go bigger than that. I mean, we can really make this about all aspects of business because
Right.
we have a very different view.
It's true. But so we're talking to a lot of people, and a lot of people that are in their, first couple of years in business. And you and I know that between 4 and year 6, if you've really been working, that's when everything starts to pop, right? And so people are like, okay, what should I do next? Is it now time to hire? But talk to me about your thoughts about a transaction coordinator and kind of like what your journey was.
Well, I started on a team.
Mm-hmm.
So we were big on, that was a big plus for the team, was transaction coordination. I found it to be extremely helpful. I think that they are the unsung heroes, and I think that they are grossly underused by agents.
What do you mean
That's
by
my
that?
opinion. I think that the top agents tend to use them, and I think that everybody but the very bottom agent should be using them. If you're doing a deal a month, you should use a transaction coordinator. Under that, probably not.
Why?
Know what you're doing.
You're wrong.
Well, here's my argument. Number one, like, you have the time at that point, and like
That's
to
the
spend.
dumbest reason to not use one.
Why?
Do you understand what opportunity cost is?
Yeah, but I would argue if you're doing a deal a month that you're not using all of your time. There's no way. So
No,
you've got the
agreed.
free time. Yeah, you've got the free time. Your money is more valuable than your time at that production level, is my argument.
Okay, but this is my argument. Just because you have like time doesn't mean that you should not. I think you should hire a transaction coordinator right away. Look, I did. I mean, I was paying them before I was paying myself, because I know that if I have a certain, especially if you have a certain amount of time, the highest like and best use of your time. Shit, I should be in commercial real estate. But the highest and the highest and best use of your time is generating leads, following up on leads, going on appointments, practicing and role playing, and negotiating contracts. Anything outside of those 5, you don't need to do. And so many agents are like, well, this is my broke agent. Well, I feel like I need to understand the process. You don't freaking need to understand the process. Why? Who cares? You get the process.
So I like your 5 cores of business. I think that they're right for successful agents. Absolutely. But I also think that not knowing all parts of the business, you can lose leverage, especially if you're in a situation where you want to grow, where you want to do your own thing. Like, you need that understanding. I mean, it's like a Hollywood agent starting the mailroom. There's a reason for that. Like, you need to know.
I disagree. What about the transaction coordination? Do you think that you are better off knowing because you did it versus me who has never done it before? I've literally even inputted only like 2 listings before my life.
So I think if you know the basics of how to like manage .loop or DocuSign, whatever you use, know how to enter a listing in the MLS, know how to, like, these are basic things like we should have some understanding of. That's my opinion. Now, if you want to push that out once you've earned the right to do so, but like early on, like, you're not busy enough to leverage your time. You're just not.
But you should be busy doing other things like generating leads and lead follow-up and going on appointments and crap like that. Listen, if it would take me, when I inputted those 2 listings, it literally took me over an hour, and I was so frustrated and so like I messed up 1,000 times, and I couldn't even, after that, I couldn't even think straight enough to prospect. Whereas if I just let somebody else do it, then I could go off and prospect happily.
Okay, so I respect that. And I think for you,
We're
who
fighting. I
does
love
not
it.
have much patience, but let's put it this way. You keep saying should be, you should be, but I'm thinking of you are. So like,
Okay.
while 99% of agents should be, about 7% of agents are. So the 93%, they've got the time. Now, if they choose to use their time wisely, then they will have the results. Then they can hire a transaction coordinator. But that's not what's happening, Jennifer.
Yeah, but we're talking about something. Okay, so you're saying that you're living in reality and saying, okay, this is real. You have the time. It makes sense for you to do it. And I'm saying, if you have the time, it does not make sense for you to do it. Hire a transaction coordinator right away. Let them coordinate the transaction. Focus on, if you only spend 10 minutes generating leads and the other time sipping margaritas, do that. But what are your goals? What do you want? And if your reality is, if you show me your schedule and I'll tell you what you're going to make at the end of the year, right? So if your schedule is not aligned with your goals, that's an entirely different conversation. But I find that most agents use, the reality is most of them use like, well, I have to coordinate this transaction. Everything's a fire. I have to like do all this stuff. It's an excuse not to generate leads and not to lead follow up.
I think we agree there.
But just
That
because
portion we
you
agree on.
know how to coordinate a transaction, I don't think there's any benefit in you as the rainmaker, you as the leader of your business, you as the generator of leads. There's zero benefit in one, paying somebody else to generate leads for you. That makes me insane. And two, learning how to coordinate a transaction or learning how to input a listing. Nobody cares. It's not helpful information. You can pay somebody to do it. It adds zero value to your life.
You may be right. I felt that it's good to know all aspects, but let me just end with this because I think it's really important.
Okay.
Jennifer, I love you so much as a friend. You're so wonderful. Can't wait to go to dinner.
But
But I think that it is good as a business owner to know how to touch and do all aspects of the business, even if it's a little bit. I just think it gives you a little bit more credibility, a little bit more strength to train. But I understand it is not a great use of time to do that regularly. That would be foolish.
so could what you're suggesting be so, I think it is good to have an understanding of the process. Do I have to do something to understand it? No. Do I have to communicate? Yes. So I also think coupled with not doing the work of that is also being in communication with the transaction coordinator on a regular basis. And if you're curious about how something is done, ask the question. It does not, and I'm a tactical person, like I like hands-on stuff, but it's like, and I agree with you at some point. You said, for me, I'm like, I get frustrated pretty easily. So for people like me, it'll be easier to like pawn off. But I've also seen so many people that are more administrative anyway, like that is the foundation of their personality. And then they get trapped in being a transaction coordinator and they never get out of it. What do you say to them?
Yeah,
What say
I
you,
think
TJ?
I think that there is very few people that are elite analytical data people that thrive at that and they can make a wonderful living. I think
Yeah.
that is not most people. I think most people, it's an easier road because they don't have to deal with potential failure in terms of people saying no.
Yeah.
But a big part of this too, real quick, is like you need to know your disc profile. You need to know like who you are, what you're good
Right.
at, what drives you, and not everybody's cut out for this gig, and that's okay.
That's okay.
So and if you're a transaction coordinator, meaning that's where you're getting joy, let's find a way to make money there because there's
Well,
plenty of
yeah,
us
you're
and
gonna,
plenty of you.
and you'll be a terrible real estate agent. But if you're
Yeah, I
like,
agree.
I think it's very few and far in between where somebody who is a great salesperson and a great administrator. I think that's a very different skill set.
I agree 100,000%.
But you're saying, so I assume that most people are hashtag Team TJ, boo. but you're saying like, know how to do it. And once you know how to do it and you have like a consistent basis, then get the coordinator, because then you can fully understand what's happening, what you're paying for. And if you bring somebody else on, you can fully understand that. I'm saying you don't fully need to understand it because it's not in your wheelhouse. You're not going to be training those people anyway. You just need to know how to communicate with people and talk with people, and you need to get more damn business. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I think they're both strong opinions. That's what I think.
Hashtag Team Mertland. I don't know.
Edgy.
All right. Well, TJ, that was fun. If people have a referral for you or they want to tell you how right you are, what is the best way to get a hold of you?
Come, shoot me a text or call 513-379-2000.
Awesome. And if you want to tell me that I'm right, I'm just kidding. You can, you don't have to tell me, I already know, but you can tell me. You can call me at 513-400-1691. All right, TJ, have a good one.
You too.
Bye.